Good morning, good day. How you doing? For those of you that miss church and you sitting in on Motivational Sundays with Kevin and his friends, how you doing? And welcome. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Power Podcast Network. Our purpose is simply hope, helping other people every day. You are now listening to Motivational Sundays with Kevin and friends. This show was originally created from more than 300 quotes that I created for the contents of my books. Always curious about how quotes landed on other people. Based on our interpretations and perceptions, we toss it out there to our friends, and we ask, how does this quote land on you? And you'll be surprised in how we do this. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everyone is welcome. Just bring a positive attitude. So today, I'm going to I'm Kevin McLemore. I'm your host. I'm joined with Otis Spencer, the voice of our show, Christopher and Gilda James. All right, look at that fancy apartment they live in or whatever out there in Boston. Strong out there. And Denise Lopes, all right, the queen. I know she's working on her book. Denise, I'm almost done with mine. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. So today, without any further ado, the voice. Today's quote is...
Actually, folks, I haven't get it all written down. So why don't we have Chris say the quote, and if he can type into the chat, that will help.
I will go ahead and deliver the quote.
All right.
So be selective with your battles. Sometimes peace is better than just being right. Gilda, how did this land on you today, since you brought us the quote today?
Well, to me, I feel that every day is a battle. Some days you have to fight attitudes, people's attitudes, and some days you have to fight your own. So my battle today is trying to make people understand that, I am doing what I can as far as presenting myself and doing the best thing I can do. And so there's always a constant fight on how you present yourself or anything. It's a fight every day as far as the battle goes for me. That's how it lands on me.
All right. And
fighting daily.
All right. And I think that's a great interpretation and a great share. And I know our listeners are kind of bouncing this off themselves today. And I'll repeat it for someone that just tuned in again. Otis, if you don't mind, we like to hear that voice.
Be selective with your battles. Sometimes peace is better than being right.
Denise Lopes, how you doing? Working on your new book and all that good stuff, and just passed your test and to be part of the Friendly Skies and all that other good stuff. Educator over in Boston. Tell us, how does this quote land on you?
Good morning. This quote is really, I use it a lot because sometimes you have an argument with somebody and it's just that you keep going. Sometimes you just have to let it go and be at peace with it instead of keeping going and worrying about it too. And for me to land another way, like if somebody's like being mean to you and being aggressive, all you have to do is ask them, are you okay? Like, just let it go, because if you keep on fighting, you're the one that's not going to be at peace. And sometimes some things is better off, like, just let it go. That's what I've been doing. I'll let it go. Like, you right? You said 1 + 1 is 3? Good. Okay. That's it. So for me, that's how it ended on me, because some things is not worth it, your peace at all.
Wow. And I'm glad I'm not the only person that, is excellent in math, because, I've been telling people for years, 1 and 1 equals 3 all day long, and they keep trying to make it 2. I'm going, you're not right. You're not right. Christopher, your wife was so blessed us with this quote today, and I know it's new to your ears today. If you're in a relationship, tell me how this quote landed on you.
Actually, it is a very old quote between the two of us. It's what I used to call the justification for compromise. And compromising has always been one of the things that has been both good and bad. It's been given two faces, but this quote I've always looked upon as a great definition or a great equalizer for compromise. And it's simply that, okay, take a look at your situation. If arguing is only to make your point, yet it will destroy the peace, why go there? And I don't know, it isn't very many times where you actually get a chance to introduce peace. But the whole idea of, oh wow, there was another quote, never argue with a fool. And the whole thing there is, you have this idea that, yeah, this is right, I should be right, but in so doing, you're going to cause a battle. Let it go. Be selective in your battles, and let peace reign in place of truth. I mean, like, and who can say what truth is? Whose truth is it? But I sort of had a competitive quote, and mine was, never argue with a fool. But Gilda won with her quote, be selective in your battles. But I think it's sort of the same thing.
You actually define that in a very subtle way without actually saying it. Be selective in your battles. Let peace be right. There you go. You know how to keep a marriage alive.
40 years, man. That's how you do it.
Otis, we're going to let you repeat the quote one time, and let's hear how this lands on you.
Be selective with your battles. Sometimes peace is better than being right. Well, the best thing I can really say with this, depending on who and what you're arguing with, you want to really think about what the outcome can be. It could be something that explodes into something more than what you really want to handle. It could be down to losing a friendship. So it's not always necessary to continue an argument going. So how valuable is that relationship or that friendship to you? So you need to decide what is best for that situation.
And way to go. Put it in the lap of a relationship. What is best for that situation?
Yep.
So I guess, we've gone around the horn and it's come back to me. Otis, if you don't mind, just for people that just tuned in, to give us the quote again before I give you my share, my interpretation on it. Well, go ahead, hit it, Otis.
Be selective with your battles. Sometimes peace is better than being right.
All right. So how did it land on me? When I first saw this, I say this often, why does an argument never end? It's because someone wants to win.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why. So when you say be selective in your battles, I think all of us is old enough to remember that this song, If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right.
Mm-hmm.
Being wrong means being without you. I'd rather be wrong doing right.
Yeah.
You've got to say this. How many times have we opened our mouth knowing we should have held our hands over our mouth and wish we hadn't said it? We knew what the outcome or the response was going to be, but we just, that little man or little woman inside you said, go ahead, let it go. Go ahead, let it go. See what happens. She's going to be pissed off. He's going to leave. He's not going to do this and whatever. But we say it anyway. But we ask ourselves, is the battle or the conversation we're having at hand, is it the real conversation that we're doing battle over? There is always some underlying issue of the conversation that we're having and that we share with someone we care for. And normally what happens when we go into battle, what do? Most of us are not very strong. So I would say, and don't be offended, some of us are cowards. We seem to dump on the person that's going to give us the least pushback. So we push. And we never know what we've said or what we've done to them until they tell us how they feel. How many times have you walked away from somebody, and then turned around and they said nothing to you because they said, go ahead, let them be right. But you tore them apart. You broke them down. We've had a quote before, you never know how someone else is going, what they're going through. And then we dump on them and whatever. So to our listeners, when you look at this quote and you say, be selective in your battles, ask yourself, success or your happiness, are you standing in your own way, trying to be right? All right. What value do you have for giving your opinion to someone's not asking for your opinion? All right. Think about it. All right. The next time you speak, become a better listener. and to find out the conversation that you're having is the conversation that you need to acknowledge and not defend a conversation that you want to have. You know, you can use this line in every aspect of our life, our daily lives, and our life after our life. Simply give peace a chance. And if you give peace a chance, guess what? You're right.
You're right.
Mhm.
All right. All right.
Kevin,
So with that said, there's a lot. I love Sunday mornings, Sunday motivationals with Kevin and friends. I love my co-hosts, Otis, Christopher, Gilda, Denise, Naheem, David, Andrea, Ife, you know. I live for this day. All right. And I can't wait till we, do this again. In my heart, I believe bigger things are coming for this show and these people. And I thank all of our listeners and our guests. I know Denise is on her way to someplace. It's the middle of August right now, Denise. Tell us about how your book's coming along.
I don't know. My book right now is on holding still, how do you say? I was the person that's supposed to be finishing my drawing, like the pictures. I haven't had time. It's my fault because I'm working 10:30 to 7. So by the time I get home, it's like 8:30, and she's doing her homework for school. So
All right.
I'm
Well,
trying.
that's okay. You control the things you have control over. Being in the publishing world, you always when you're working with a team, you always can't get your team to be on the same page you're on. But we keep turning the page, and we know your book is coming. I always say that if you want to ever get something done, and many of us are, have this disease, failure to launch, but Denise is not that way. Tell someone that's going to hold you accountable. So, we put it out here for our family, and every week I remind you. So, sooner or later you'll say, let me make this man shut up and just do this book, So that's what I'm hoping. And I'm hoping you give it back to me. Because I'm in the same position you're in. I've got one more drawing to do, and my goal is to have it done tonight. And then I send it out in order for it to be formatted and pictures copied and everything else. So with that said, Denise, drive safely. Thank you for always being here in your presence. You are a gift.
Thank you.
All right. And when I talk about the gift, you have greatness within you. Everyone on this panel has greatness within you. And when I talk about greatness, the reason why I say greatness within you is because greatness is defined by service. And each and every last person on this panel, every single day is giving back and not asking for anything in return. That's why I surround myself with these wonderful people. Gilda and Chris, how are you guys doing, and what's going on in your life? Anything that we can promote on this show?
Oh, well, right now the biggest thing is the strike.
Yes.
We have been receiving a lot of great messages and emails back and forth between the different locations and the artists. And I think out of the entire movement, probably the most significant is going to be the I'm not using the wrong word here. Implementation.
Implementation.
Thank you, Otis, the voice. That word of the entire AI concept. I was speaking with Chris Cooper at the last rally, and he asked specifically about that, and not so much as a concern, but he asked how were people approached when they were scanned? Were they notified? Were they informed of exactly what this scanning meant and what the scanning would be used for? And I recall being scanned twice for two different productions, and no one ever said, "Okay, this will allow us to use your likeness in any application that we desire." And as I was talking to Mr. Cooper, what came to my mind or my memory was, can you recall back in '81 the movie Looker, where the whole concept, there was a Michael Crichton movie. Crichton, I'm not pronouncing his name right, but he's the same guy who brought us Jaws and
Right.
Jurassic Park and all that. He's a great scientific mind, but he foresaw what computers can do as far as imaging. And in the story, of course, the computer was using people's likeness and having it work through a computer doing exactly what the director wanted. And in the result of this movie, they were simply killing off the actors. Well, in the real world, that same likeness can be used, and the actors simply won't receive anything, simply won't be paid anything. But that struck me at this last rally that we did in Boston as the most significant thing in this entire movement. It is our naivete, or basically non-appreciation of what AI can actually do. And I was talking with Otis and a few others, where society will always try to find a easier, cheaper, faster way to get a particular thing done, irregardless of the outcome. And most recently, Otis and I were talking, the proponents of slavery in this country saw it as a method of getting work done that they didn't have to do. All they did was just sit back, control however they decided to control it, and reap the benefits. Well, that didn't turn out very well. My analogy, or our analogy, Otis and I's analogy, was that AI could very likely be the exact same thing. Science fiction has warned us about this for years. Okay, I don't see it ending well, not with the attitudes that we have. We're getting things done without us having to produce the well, let's say, pay the piper. It can end, any sorts of ways, but immediately it's going to be actors losing the ability of receiving for their work. In other words, their likeness is going to be used for who knows what, and there is no revenue, there's no avenue to return that revenue back to the actors. It's simply for the producers to benefit.
Well, believe it or not, I agree with you 100%. Our movies, our books have all projected our future. I always say there's no original thought that any of us had. We've all created from the same mold. There's the person that acts on it that makes it original. I mean, if you looked at it years ago, Dick Tracy spoke into a watch. What are we right now? Apple Watch, Google. Yeah. We all have that right now. The technology exists. John Travolta was in a movie when they could take his face and put it on someone else's face, and they can go out and do heinous crimes or whatever. Look at Independence Day. We look at Dustin Hoffman with the virus that came out. It was a monkey virus or whatever, almost destroyed the whole population. None of this is new to any of us, and we all act surprised. But the people that are controlling the power and money, and like you said, they're trying to reinvent slavery. And what's going to happen if people don't realize it? AI is basically going to take 1/3 of the working population. That's hundreds of thousands of people, and they're going to be displaced. It's going to only be two classes: people that have nothing and the people have everything. The middle class will be zero out with this technology. And as long as we are depending on technology to make things convenient, we don't even have to drive our own cars now.
That's
all right. And you have to look at it. As much as they're promoting how easy it is, whatever, we are buying into it. We can put on our makeup, we can text. Count how many people you see walking down the street. You looking up, and I can tell you 10 people that's walking down the street are looking down because they cannot separate themselves. There's a book called Hook, and it shows you the individual that created all this technology, whatever, has pre-programmed all of us in order to be hooked on our technology. Yeah. You look at the fact that, everyone wants to be famous. They used to put money into all these people that had hundreds of thousands of likes and whatever. And now they withdrew the money because there was no return on the profit of those monies, or who liked and who followed and so forth. So, the outcome, they basically took it away. But still people are walking around in their underwear and shirtless and whatever. And they got hundreds of thousands of likes of people that don't do anything else in their life other than push an emoji or whatever the case may be. So, even this quote today, we talk about be selective in our conversations and everything else, trying to be right. This technology, do you really want it to be right? Ask yourself. Otis, what's going on with you? I know the strike is hitting home to you. Don't get me
correct. And even looking at this same topic on AI, I came from the parking industry. And if you look at what's happening, you have automated pay machines. You have no more cashiers. You look at what happens when you go to the grocery store, you have the self-checkout. You're taking away jobs from human beings. So that's really bad. And on the other side of our strike is the thing happening with residuals. I did Here Comes the Boom back in 2010. I still get a little something, and I'll get that for the rest of my life. I worked on other films on streaming. I get paid once a year for a smaller amount, which is very, very unfair. But in general, what's going on now, this week, I'm going to be a reenactor for I believe it's the National Guard, helping them out as a patient during a natural disaster. So I'll do that 2 days this week. And thanks to Gilda and Chris for pushing me, come September and November, I will be a poll worker for the elections in Massachusetts.
All right. And again, you got greatness within you. Service. Remember that. And to our listeners, I want you to think about this. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. There are 186 hours in a week, 365 days in a year. Where you are right now is where you need to be. You may not be where you want to be, but you need to be prepared for where you want to be. Because when you get there, you need to make sure your actions support the conversations you have today, because moments do matter. This is all you have. The same 60 seconds here is the same 60 seconds around the world or the other side of the world. It's what you do with it. So be selective in the things that you choose to stand or position yourself on. And sometimes giving peace makes it right. So with that said, we meet every Sunday here at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We basically throw out quotes. And if you like what you've heard, go to RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page. Follow and subscribe. I will tell you, if you're not a person of higher call to action or whatever, you don't have to follow, you don't have to subscribe, because the people that I surround myself with are like Otis, Gilda, Chris, Naheem, Denise, Ife, David. They don't drive by an accident. They stop and help. And hopefully you're that type of person. And if you're that type of person, we'd like to have you on the show. We posted on my Facebook page, and the link is there. The invite's there. The password is Kevin. It's very easy. Thank you for joining in with Motivational Sundays with Kevin. As my grandfather says, when you get to the point in your life that you can help someone else out, it is your duty to do so. Like I said, you have greatness within you. Reach one, teach one, and we're out.